Hello, welcome back to All United WFC. We're ramping back up the shows again this week after a little, I'm going to call it sabbatical last week. But 4-0, another 4-0, another clean sheet, and we are top of the league. You know, let's celebrate it while we can, because it might not last. I'm sure if Barry was here, he would be banging that drum because he said that at the start of the season. What different looking panel, but I'm looking forward to this because we've got Andy Slater, the what's your official title, Andy? What should we call you? The Barmy article editor? Is that what you go by now? You're on mute, by the way, so I'm sure you might want to really unmute yourself there.
It was you that muted me. That's what confused me. Yeah, it's an unofficial fanzine, so I don't know if you have an official title, but I go by editor.
There we go. It might. I was half joking, half not. We'll see. I'm just preparing myself so I don't get clipped up towards the end of the season if we don't win the league. And welcoming a new face for the first time. Chloe, thanks for coming on. I know you're mega busy at the moment. You're tying me out with the amount of things when you text me telling me how many things you're doing. So thanks for coming on. I hope you're doing well as well.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
No worries. And Charlie, as ever, back at LSV, just 24 hours on from being there. I hope you're well as well. There's a lot of comments coming in already. So let's get straight into it then. And Charlie and Andy, I want to come to you two first. Talk about, because the first thing that surprised me from yesterday's game, before we get into the actual game itself, was the attendance. Now, we've had a lot of chat about, talking about attendances and that kind of thing. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong here in the comments. I'm looking at kind of Ian or Deb or somebody like that to correct me here. I think our average attendance last season was about 1,900, maybe a bit lower, maybe 1,600. We've seen good attendance, obviously, the first home game, pretty decent at the away game, and then 3,600 yesterday. Now, Charlie and then Andy, you following on this, what was the atmosphere like? What did it feel like 3,600? Because it seems to be quite high again, and that's only a positive thing.
Yeah, it was good. I think last year averaged like 1924. That's really specific, isn't it? I've not written that down. If you take out the Old Trafford game, but yeah, it was good. It was really good numbers. Particularly when you think about that, the fellas were kicking off at 2, so you'd have people potentially wanting to attend both, and perhaps prioritising the men's game. And there was also really shoddy traffic due to all sorts of road traffic accidents around, not too far from the ground. So it was really good. It felt nice and full. There was lots of points during the game when I kept sort of nudging Bazza and saying, "Oh, look, there's actually chanting coming from other areas of the ground rather than just us," which was really nice. It just feels so much better. It looks so much better. I imagine it gives a proper lift for the players as well. And it just makes it look like more of a fortress, because it actually is LSV. They've not lost. They've won. I think they've won 9 games in a row there. So it is a fortress, but filled with fans. It's even better. So yeah, really good atmosphere. And yeah, like 2,000 more than last year's average against a side that don't bring many fans themselves. So it was a good showing from United fans. And obviously it'll just be even better, won't it, when you're playing the likes of maybe Chelsea and City, who are going to bring big numbers as well along with them. But yeah, really good.
Yeah, I didn't even register with me until they announced the attendance, and then I had a look around and realised that the opposite stand was like half full, and that's when it wasn't until they mentioned it that I thought that's pretty impressive. And you notice the faces around you that aren't there, and don't think much beyond that. But yeah, I was well impressed with it. And unfortunately, I just mentioned the Chelsea game. Unfortunately, they won't be bringing many this time with the change of kick-off time. But that's obviously another issue that can be talked to death about. But yeah, the numbers are looking great throughout the whole. What we can see so far, for the Chelsea match opening up the terrace and that, it's a pretty big deal.
I'd say so as well. And I think just looking at a couple of the comments, and I want to throw this over to you, Chloe, because I know me and you both watched it on there. I do apologise. You'll get used to this, Chloe, if you come back on. So Sang likes to give hairline scores, and that is quite high, to be fair. It's usually around 5. So I think, Chloe, you've upped the score for this week. It's usually lower than that. So that's a positive. It's going up, just like United and Lucky Sang. I don't even know where Chelsea second or third. I'm not too sure. We'll get to the league table a bit later. But Chloe, I want to come over to you because Mark's saying there it seemed a bit flat watching it back on TV. I don't remember it being really loud on TV, I've got to be honest. But did you notice anything also, I guess, a follow-up question to that? the rise in attendances, do you expect that to continue now, particularly obviously with United? Andy mentioned there that the opening of the terrace for Chelsea. Do you reckon that's going to continue as well?
Yeah, so from all of like the clips and stuff that I watched, I wouldn't necessarily say that you could tell the atmosphere from the videos. It was definitely would have been a lot better being there. I would say with obviously the success over the summer and the rise with women's football, you can only imagine the attendance is going to get better. It is a shame, obviously, with the men's game going on at the same time, but I feel like if they accommodate for both, then there's no reason why the attendance wouldn't go up.
Can I also just quickly say as well, I think at this point, the key thing is getting the numbers. So getting the numbers of people in there. And it might be a lot of new fans to football at all, completely, or new fans to women's football, where if you think about how it's been advertised in the past, women's football, it's maybe not been perceived as something you would go to and there would be a bit of a raucous atmosphere. So you might have people going thinking that's just not what they're going to be expected to do. And actually, I think the key thing is getting the people there, and then the atmosphere will grow. Because I actually felt like the atmosphere in this game being in the ground there was more to it than the first home game. Because it felt like there was more crowd involvement this time around. But I think that will come with time as well. The key thing is that just getting people in there and people are coming back, which I think is obviously the most important.
Yeah, I'd tend to say that. I mean, what's Masterclass? Still need better, more camera angles. I'm assuming that's relation to the TV coverage, not in relation to us on screen here, because I don't think there's anything wrong there. Yeah, I watched on TV and the height was great. I don't think it was bad. I rephrased what I said. I don't think it was awful. I just don't think it was. It's hard to pick across on TV because unless you're next to a mic, and I was actually going to say this, that I think one of the microphones was next to somebody who was quite loud, because you can hear just one guy quite a lot shouting a lot of sometimes expletive, which is quite funny, over the thing. So it's hard to judge atmosphere when you watch it on TV, but like you said, Charlie, I think the fact that people are turning up, it clashed with the men's game. That's what surprised me the most. I think usually when we saw clashes last season, the attendance dropped to kind of around the 1,000 mark. The fact that it's over 3K with a clash with, like you said, all of the road issues and other things as well. I mean, maybe. I mean, it's far for me. Andy Slater lives on the doorstep pretty much, so I wouldn't say it's too far for him. But yeah, I guess it is for some people, but I've never bought into that as a massive reason. I think there's other factors to it as well. That's probably because, Mark, you weren't there. I don't think Benning was there. I don't know who else missed out. Obviously, I wasn't, but I'm not very loud anyway. Who else wasn't there? I can't think of who else, but that's maybe why it was a little bit. But as Dev said, it's improvement. That's the main thing. Right, let's move on to the actual game itself. And where should we start with Ella Toone? Because why not? Obviously, got the goal early on. I've got a couple of questions, obviously, on her and her performance kind of as a whole. When did she score? It was early on, wasn't it? I'm trying to get the exact minute now, so I don't look like a right tit on.
Yeah. No, I noticed during the game that we scored on 13 and then 26 minutes roughly.
There we go. Yes, you're right.
I'm sure it went like 39 after that, maybe 40 to ruin the pattern. But...
Exactly. So, Charlie, I'll come to you first. We'll do it goal by goal. So, first goal goes in. It's a good build to play all round, really. You're looking at the finish, and obviously Toone is finally, I say finally, like we're like 10 games in, but we're only, kind of 3 WSL 4 games in overall. How good was that then, Charlie? Go on, talk me through that one.
Oh, really? Sorry, I was laughing at a comment there. Toone, we're talking about Toone, aren't we? Her first goal.
Well,
it was really.
Did you want to go to the best bit first? Or?
How did you know it was that one? You know what? It was really interesting watching Toone because we were a little bit. There was a little bit of concern about her after the first couple of games that she just looked not quite at the races for whatever reason that might have been. But literally within the first 90 seconds, I'm sure I turned around to Andy and I was like, "Oh, she's on it today. She's on it. She's back," because she was getting stuck in straight away. She was finding lots of pockets of space as well between the back line and Brighton's back line and midfield, just causing havoc. And the first goal, it looked like it just whacked her in the face, like she didn't know much about it. But actually, when you watch it back, she's clearly headed that deliberately with the intention of it going where it was, because she only could have headed it in that position and the goalkeeper not to get it. It also looked like it was going really slowly. I don't know what it looked like on telly, but from our perspective, which is basically behind her, seemed to take an age. And then obviously, second one was really good as well, getting herself in a really good position, making a really good run off the back of the defender who had no idea she was there, and laid off really well by Galton. I just think it's so important. She's is it talismanic? Is it, what's the actual word?
Talismanic?
Manic? I don't know.
We'll go with that. Go with that.
She's so important, isn't she? I think she's really important for the team because she's such a big player for us and she creates so much. But I also think how she performs also has an impact on how people in the ground are behaving. Like there's a lot of responsibility on her shoulders. And she was incredible. I had her down for a brace, so I'm really pleased. So I'm going to predict against Leicester she'll get a hat-trick, and hopefully she will. But she was amazing. She was so good yesterday. Her range of passing was good. Her movement was good. Running at defenders with the ball. She was also chopping into tackles, which I like, which we've seen through in the past. She was brilliant. And she was vocal as well. I felt like you could hear her quite a lot. I think with the summer she's had, that was sort of the next thing for her, was to step up and be more vocal and be more of a leader alongside Katie and alongside Mary on the pitch. And she certainly was, but just really pleased. She's so important for us. We need her firing on all cylinders, and hopefully now she will be.
I think just very quickly, Andy, before you come in, I'm going to throw this question to you, and I'm going to ask Chloe the same thing, because we've all seen the goal. The first one, we'll stick with the first one. Any questionable from a Brighton point of view? Should that be going in? I always like to play devil's advocate with these kind of goals. Like Charlie said there, the ball was a good header to get it kind of, where she put it into the corner, but it's quite slow. If I was the other way around, I'd probably expect Mary to save that.
Mary will save that.
Well, we know that. So I don't know, Andy, do you think it's a good goal, or how are you kind of looking at it?
Yeah, from the angle we saw it in the ground, it wasn't obvious it was going in from the minute it left her head, and it kind of drifted into the corner like it was kind of sneaked in. It felt like quite a slow pace, but the direction of it was probably enough to beat a keeper who's not England's number one.
That's a fair shout. And Chloe, for yourself?
Yeah, I feel like watching it back, it definitely did look like it was going in slow motion. You probably would have thought the goalkeeper could have done something, but I guess it was going right in the corner. It was a really good ball in, really good header. So I guess there wasn't too much she could do about it, but it did look like quite a slow goal.
I think it's the movement, isn't it? I'm literally just watching it about now as we talk. So the ball from Honor, I mean, I think Mark said earlier on about Toone being the best player. There we go. It's odd because I think Honor's the best player. So we're looking at, two of our best there linking up. So it's the movement for me, but Toone moving in between the two Brighton centre halves that I think does it for me. But yeah, it's a good goal. I think Toone needed that. I'm going to come back to her kind of overall game in a second, but I just want to get to the other goals as well. So talk about the second one. Good little ball through. I can't remember who played the ball through to Leah. Unselfishly, really played it then off to Toone, and that was a good finish, into the bottom corner as well. So go on, Charlie, talk us through that one and your kind of emotions, I guess, around the second one.
Yeah, really pleased. Smug, because she had a two, which is what I was after. Yeah, really unselfish from Leah. I don't think anyone would have blamed if she'd taken the shot on herself. But again, that's because those two in particular clicked really, really well in yesterday's game. And it was Toone making that run off the back of one of the centre backs. I can't remember which one it was. And again, just the composure that she has, which we saw in the summer, didn't we, for England? She's cool as a cucumber. And you need that. You need it. Like, it's not a guaranteed goal. How many times do players get into that position and they just use the goalkeeper as target practice or miss kick it? She's so calm under pressure that as soon as she's there in that position, it's going to hit the back of the net. And again, it was a really good ball. She hit it across the keeper, same place as the header went pretty much, I think. The goalkeeper committed. So she just sort of waited a second and then took her shot. And then from that point onwards, it was just one-way traffic, really. That was Brighton. Brighton were done, I think, from that point onwards.
Yeah, I didn't notice at the time, but when I saw a replay of it, I was shocked that Leah passed it. I think the pass that she made looked harder than taking it on herself. She seemed to slow herself down and then kind of pick out the pass. And, Toone did what we all know she can do. But I wondered if at that point, seeing that, I wondered, what would stop Leah from taking it on and driving straight at the goal herself. But then obviously she got a goal later on. Was it a confidence thing? Did she just see the pass before the ball came to her and knew that was what she was going to do? So I thought it was all well executed. I was just surprised that she made a more difficult pass than the shot that she could have had.
It's funny you say that, because again, I've just watched it back. I'm amazed now watching it back that she doesn't go for goal. And also Paris is the easier option to her right. She's actually gone for the really hard outside of the foot pass. I'm with you. I'm amazed that I didn't notice that at the time. I'm only watching it back. I'm amazed that she's gone for that. To even see where Toone is, she's got two Brighton players in the way. Like I said, Paris is on her right with nobody on her. So that's credit to her for finding that pass and Toone for slotting it away. So I guess, Chloe, what your kind of thoughts on the goal? And I guess I'm going to ask you, if you were in Leah's position, would you be passing it there? Would you be laying that off, or would you be trying to go for goal from there?
Well, I was just about to say the exact same thing. I've just watched it back and I'm like, how has she not gone for goal? And as you say, it was the harder option, trying to find Ella. I mean, I probably would have tried to go for goal personally. I don't think I would have had the eye to pick her out, but no, it was a good goal, and it was a really good assist in the end if you look at it from that way.
I think, like Andy, like you said, or Charlie, one of you just said that she got her goal in the end anyway, Leah, so it's not going to matter too much. But yeah, I mean, that's an incredible pass and a good finish as well, because we've seen Toone miss those this season. So it's nice to see her actually get a couple. And before we move on to the third and the fourth goal, I want to actually talk about Toone in a bit more detail, because we've had discussions, let's say, on this channel about her start to the season, this whole Euros hangover thing that gets banded about, that I just think is a complete myth. And I want to ask you, Charlie, was that Toone back to her best, or do you still think there's levels to where she can go from here? Obviously, it's one game. You can't just say, yeah, they're back on form after one game. But do you think that was Toone kind of what we know she can do and back to a full best?
I think it was a really good Ella Toone. I still think generally, not just thinking about how she's played previously, I still think she can get better. She can get better and better. She's still really young. But I think what we saw from her yesterday was what we would expect. And like I said, expectations of her are a lot higher than they are of everyone else in that squad from the fan base, which is rightly so. She's our best, or one of our two best players. So for me, if she performs like that every week, there can't be any complaints. And she could perform like that and not score 2 goals. There was loads of facets to her game yesterday that had maybe been missing for the last couple of weeks. Got to remember as well, like, forget the fact that it was the Euros. She also came back into pre-season later, so spent less time with the squad. There's a lot of changes in and around the squad that she maybe had to settle in with as well. But I'm really pleased with that. I still think she will progress and get better and better. And I'm really glad that it looks like for the foreseeable future, it's probably going to be with us.
Fingers crossed. There's all that talk about another new contract for her, but she only got one last year. So that would be, I'll be amazed if she gets one before the likes of Honor and Russo and so on. But we shall see. I think Ella Toone's about 85%, can only get better. Yeah, I like that. I'll give my answer to this in a second. I'm going to go to Andy next on that same question, really. I guess, do you think that was her back to her best, or do you think she needs a run of games like that first before you can start saying that?
I think there's a couple of parts to that. There's the Euros hangover, and that's by way of, like Charlie just said, joining up with the squad later than everybody else. Coming down from that high of being so pivotal to the Euros win, and then coming back to domestic football, which is much more of a slow burner than getting hyped up for game by game and with an imminent result for it. And I think we've seen that from both her and Lessie in the first couple of games. I mean, Lessie's got a goal, but I think both of them have looked a little bit, you've got high expectation. The players themselves are hyped up, and then it seemed a little bit underwhelming. So I think it was, I mean, we could say that it was a relatively easy game for her, but I'm all for that. Get her a few goals and an assist in a an easier game, get a rhythm going, get a confidence up, and get a feeling the buzz of scoring for United again. She loves the club. Get her that feeling of scoring for the club she loves again, and build up that hunger for that, and for banging them in for her own club rather than off on the Euros.
I do think as well there's a new audience, particularly for United. And I think a lot of the top 3, top 4 teams are seeing this with the Euros winners. You see I think that plays back into what we were saying at the start about the attendance. I think a lot of the people that are now going to United games, I mean, it is what it is. I don't, as long as people fill the seats, it doesn't really matter to me. But I think a lot of them are now going because, you can come and see Ella Toone for £6. You can come and see Russo. You can go and see Leah Williamson or whoever it is. I've just named 2 people that are injured there, but you know what I mean. You can go and watch them, kind of for their clubs as well. And I do think there's an element of that. Mark's talking there about pre-season is important. I don't know. It's a long time ago since I played football, so I can't remember back to important pre-season. Chloe, I don't know whether you still. I don't know if you still play or not, but I guess the importance of pre-season. I'm going to ask you as well. Do you believe in it? Because we hear it in the men's game a lot as well about Euros hangover or World Cup hangover, whatever. Do you think could be a factor to Ella's maybe slow start, or do you just think it was just a couple of games and now we're seeing what she can do?
Yeah, firstly, I'm not playing at the moment, but I did play a game after not having much of a pre-season when I was moving house, and I was like, my God, I did need the pre-season. So I think sometimes it can have a little bit of an effect, but she's a professional footballer, so. And yeah, I think sometimes, you are on a bit of a high, you're coming back down, maybe she did need a couple games to get back into some rhythm. But I feel like it was a really good game yesterday. I did actually make like a few little notes, and she did get the highest rating on the pitch from FOTMob, which was 9.3. I think that's obviously really impressive. And Leah got 9.2. So I think, the link up between them and her coming back with a strong performance, I think that was really important. So
it's an interesting point you make there, because it's not exactly a step down coming back to United, but it is because she was on such a high after the Euros. Anything else is going to be a drop.
Yeah.
It might not be a massive drop, but it's still going to be some kind of drop. So I guess there is that readjusting period. Me personally, I just don't believe in the whole, you can have a hangover from the Euros, especially when she didn't start for most of the games. She only came off the bench late on in games. So I don't think it's a fitness thing.
Yeah, I think it's more just the feelings, most likely.
Yeah.
Go on, Andy. I don't know whether you...
Yeah, it's not so much the burnout from what she's done at the Euros, but more of it's the intensity of, the 3 to 4 week period where, they're in that squad 24/7 for 3-4 weeks. Every game builds up to the next one. Every game matters because you win it to get to the next stage and then to the next stage after that. Whereas domestic football, it's 9 months worth of 3 games, then 3 weeks off, and then 3 or 4 games, and then another 2 weeks off, and then Christmas break. And it's that, as I said before, it's much more of a slow burner. That it's not so much getting everybody hyped up for each game, but keeping everybody at a steady level to stay consistent throughout. And on the basis of fitness, I think I don't know about pre-season. I think I need 3 seasons to get fit. But as you say, these are professional athletes, and it's not so much about the fitness, but the intensity of what they're aiming to do. It's such a different beast between tournament football and a 9-month league season.
No, I'd agree with that. And how annoying are these breaks, by the way, as well. Because when I was looking at the fixtures, like, can we get a run together? I was looking at, we've got another break in about 3 weeks' time, haven't we, or something like that, after one of the Conti games. It's just, we won't get into that. What's people saying in the comments here? Mark thought, the challenge will be in the winter months, filling the seats. I completely agree. I mean, it's freezing now, but I think when it starts to get cold, it's raining and all those kinds of things, it is going to get harder, especially if they start shifting kickoff times around like they've been doing. I don't know whether Charlie or Andy, obviously you were there. I've not seen any more. I don't think she went off. Was she injured? She didn't look like she was injured. And Honor was definitely a concussion sub. I'm sure it was.
Yeah, Hannah didn't look like it. She was having a really good first half, actually. Probably the best I've seen her play in a while in a United shirt. And then she was just off. I mean, she was back. She was on the subs bench. She wasn't off, and then we couldn't see her. We didn't know where she was. and then she was on the pitch at full time, just walking around normally. So I don't know, it might have been. I mean, I can't imagine they brought her off because they wanted Leah to go to fullback. I wouldn't have thought, considering how she was playing. So it might be she felt something. So it was a precautionary thing. I mean, we're 3-0 up by that point. So what's the point in risking it? Honor was a weird one. She was down for quite a while. I think it was a boot to the face. I don't know if Andy saw it. I feel like it was a boot to the face for her. And then it appeared to be not very well dealt with, if you ask me. She was clearly concussed. And then they let the game continue while that was happening. And then she sat down. And the game continued for a bit more, and it took a bit of shouting from our bench to get the referee to blow the whistle and allow a concussion sub to happen, because we'd had all 5 of our subs by then. So that's definitely what that was. So I imagine she probably won't play the next game. I'm not sure how long the period of time is that they have to have out, or what sort of test they have to pass. I feel like it is a game's worth, though. Maybe, but Hannah's the weird one. There's been nothing about her since. So maybe it was just she felt something, they didn't risk it.
Oh my life. He is in the comments with a ridiculous... So that is Barry, who people don't know. He should be on this show, by the way, but there was a valid reason as to why he's not. He's bringing up this old debate. Now, I think, Andy, you were with him at the time. Charlie, you might have been as well. Hannah couldn't believe I was about to have pineapple on... I couldn't believe that. When he said
just on that, Connor, he specifically asked for double pineapple. And then he was wincing at every bite. You could tell he didn't enjoy it. It was just to make the point.
I mean, Chloe, just very quickly, what are you saying to this? Are you a pineapple? What's going on here?
Well, okay, if I'm honest, if it's there, I'll have it, but I wouldn't choose it.
But you're not anti it. The key thing here is you're not proactively anti it.
No.
That's fine then. Okay, good.
Okay, cool. I've been accepted.
You've been accepted on that half of the screen.
Yeah, well, no, Ian, no. Oh, see what you've done. Oh dear me, it's. Yeah, no, I don't know. I've lost. What were we even talking about before?
I think Marty's just said the club doctor just needs to give Honor the all clear,
concussion
and then she
subs,
can play.
Okay, so if that is the case, hopefully Honor is back. If there is any doubt, though, I wouldn't risk it, particularly when we've already got Leicester next game. We should be battering them anyway. Paul's in was toasted yesterday. I think you all said that. I'm pretty sure it was a hot one yesterday.
Yeah.
At LSV. Well, I want to come back to that because I want to talk about the subs in a little bit later. But let's just talk about the other goals before we get to the subs. Before we do that, though, very quickly, just make sure you're liking and subscribing. If you are new around here, make sure you're subscribing and also liking the video. Let's hit 20. We're top of the league. We've scored 10. We've conceded 0. Why not? Another thing as well, I've just put the player of the match poll in the chat, as we always do. So make sure you get your votes on there. We've gone for Honor, we've gone for Toone, we've gone for Galton, and we've gone for Adriana Leon. I'm struggling who to put on the fourth one, but we've gone for Leon as a collective. So make sure you get your votes on there. As always, we'll come back to that at the end of the show. Chaos on every show's chaos. Teacher, I don't think we've had a stable show for the whole duration, but it's all good. Let's talk about the third goal then. Galton got it. I can't actually remember it off the top of my head, so I'm going to ask Charlie to describe it, and then it should come back to me while I'm rewatching it back. Obviously, good for her. She got the assists as well for 2 others, so another good game for her, and she's also off the mark as well now.
Yeah, I feel like it was fairly similar to the one that she assisted Tooney for. I literally know every second of every other goal in the build-up, but that one's just now. You've said I'm going to go to Charlie to describe it. I've forgotten it's
so Tooney slots it through. Galton's kind of running on the angle, right foot across the keeper into the bottom left.
Yeah, which is a bit. Which she does that quite a lot, Galton, more than you think. Like I always have in my head that she's someone just a bit of a power driver because she scores goals like that as well. But she's been doing a lot of since Skinner's come in, getting in across the back post or in the 6-yard box and slotting them. I think it's no surprise that Tooney's upped her game and Galton has followed suit because I think Galton had started the season slowly as well, and they were absolutely bouncing off each other yesterday. They were brilliant as a pair. But yeah, again, we talk, don't we, about particularly with Russo being out at the moment. There was a lot of worry about what we're going to do, and And even before she was in the summer, we need the forward line to be firing on all cylinders, and they are, which is really good. We've scored 10 goals, only one of them from our main striker. So it's good to see. I think last season she started slowly and then had a brilliant season, didn't she, Galton? It was like 8 and 7 or something. So for her to get a goal, I think she got 2 assists, I think, didn't she? She assisted Toone and Leah later. She was really good. What I liked about her as well is that she was doing loads of different things, loads of facets to a game. So she was coming short to receive the ball and then laying it off for Hannah. Hannah was getting forward quite a lot in the first half. She was also bombing past the defensive line, not offside, which is really good, which was allowing Millie to play those and Maya to play those balls over the top to her. But she was also running at defenders as well. So she was causing all sorts of problems yesterday and deserved a goal by the end of the first half. But yeah, really, really, really important that she also stepped up her game as well. I think because maybe Toone had been off the pace, there hadn't been much chat about the fact that Galton had been as well. So to have both of them firing on all cylinders is good for us and a frightening proposition, I would imagine, for the Leicester defence next weekend. The leaky Leicester defence.
I was going to say, I bet they're not looking forward to that one. Barry's had some. Barry's doing a you, Charlie, with some dodgy spelling errors. I'm assuming that's your phone, Barry, that's doing that, not by accident. What's going on here? There's some back and forth between TJ and Mark Connor. I'm assuming you're on about the predictions league table, which I might get to in a second. There's been some good movers.
I'm winning.
Yeah, well, of course you are. When I jot up the league table, when I tweet the graphic, I don't even look at who's first. I just change the rest because top place.
It's just guessing. I'm just guessing. Guesswork.
I was robbed yesterday. So many scores. I was 1 goal off robbed. But there we are. Andy, I'll come over to you then with Galton's goal. And I said her performance as a whole, because like I said, she got 2 assists in that game as well. And she's the one, I guess, stable part of that front line we've seen start of this season. You know, on the right-hand side, you've got a couple of options there, but the left, unless you play someone maybe a little bit out of position, she's the one that's kind of nailed on that left-hand side. So I guess just your thoughts on the goal and also the importance of her also getting off the mark when we've seen Paris get a goal already. We've seen, obviously, Leon get a goal now as well. So I guess for her season, her staying in the squad, just getting that goal early on as well.
Yeah, I think the goal came from Brighton having it at the left-back position as well. So they had the ball, they had nowhere to go, and that's where we gained possession, and within 2-3 passes, it's Galton putting it in the net. And yeah, from the through ball, she just kind of helped it on the same way, which probably put the keeper off. Keeper's probably expecting it to go in the opposite corner. But yeah, I think you look at the forwards we signed in the summer, and you've got to look at your existing forwards and wonder if they're worried about the place in the team. But Leah's just still doing it. And a new song hasn't had a run out yet, but that does give a nod to that, to all the new signings, and then she's still holding strong and keeping her place.
We've got a new song. Have I missed some in here? I know I've won a lot of games this season, but
it hasn't debuted yet. It's just in the mind at this point.
Okay, well, I look forward to that. There we go. What's going on? Everyone's talking about the predictions league now. No. We don't want it. Don't encourage her. We don't want that. She won the Euros one. We don't want to win in the WSL one as well. Like I said, I kind of want to win the WSL one just to save me a bit of money on the prizes because otherwise I've got to fork out a fortune. But there we are. Chloe, I'll come to you then, talk about the third goal, the one that Galton's got. Like I said, for me, it's in the movement. It's that kind of diagonal run from the left-hand side. And I guess from you looking in on it, obviously I know you're a relatively new fan as well, but looking at her season, we made a lot of attacking signs in the summer for her on a personal level, getting that goal early on when she's seen other attackers get theirs as well.
Yeah, no, that's definitely going to be really important for her. I think just the whole game for her as a whole, that was a really big positive performance. Yeah, I just thought the goal was really good movement, as you say, really impressive. So that will definitely be a big confidence boost for her.
100%. What's good? Right, can someone please remind me where this started? Because I've not agreed to sign any football. I don't know where this is coming from.
Does it mean football? I was worried for a minute.
Yes. Dear me. Yes, I don't know where this started. You know, we tweeted what the prizes were, and then all of a sudden, I'm giving away a football. All of a sudden, I don't know where that's come from. Thanks, Marty, for joining us as always. Good to see you back on. We'll move to the fourth goal then, because we're already 35 minutes in. Make sure you're voting on the poll if you haven't already. I think it is quite close. So let me just have a quick look before we move on to the next section. Let's have a look. I can't even see the puck. Can anyone see the puck? I've got it. Oh, we have got a joint tie for first at the moment.
That is so close.
Toone and Leah Galton are joint on 41% at the moment. So if you haven't already, make sure you get your votes in, obviously, and then we'll go around the house on our player of the match as well. But our fourth goal scorer, another first for this season. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, somebody, but I think that's the fourth signing now that have scored this season. So 4 out of 7 already. Considering the other one's a centre back who hasn't really played yet, the other one's a rotation midfielder who hasn't really played yet, and the other one's Rachel Williams, who literally came on for the first time 20 minutes. What's that face?
I thought you were just going to stop it. The other one's Rachel Williams. I thought that was where you were stopping the sentence. So I was about to take umbrage, but no, you carried on, so it's fine, Connor. I'm sorry for jumping in.
That's all right. Well, I'm coming back to you anyway. Go on, talk to me about Leon's goal. There was a comment a bit further on, talking about whether Leah meant that pass.
It was like, I don't think she did. I think it was just a really heavy touch, like Brickfoot. But if she meant it, it was like a half volley ball. She didn't mean that, Andy, did she? Surely she didn't mean that.
That's exactly the point that I was going to make about it. Is it the weight on the pass is perfect, and if she's managed that from the touch that was coming in, then just cancel that poll and give it to Leah straight away.
I know that if she meant it, that was so good. I want someone to ask in an interview. But again, really good movement from Leon. I think we talked about her in pre-season, but me included wasn't sold on getting her in. But then she impressed quite a bit in pre-season with the runs she was making and the hold-up play. And we saw those runs against Brighton, which is what led to the goal, which she took really well. I love a goal like that. So just took it, just lifted it over the left hand. Wait. That's teacher. I can't remember which side she went. The goalkeeper's right hand shoulder. And took it really, really well. But she was making good runs all game. Like when she came on, she was making loads of really good runs because she was playing as the number 9. She was playing as the most forward player. I think it was Skinner who said at the end that second half we still wanted to score goals, but they were complacent in how they wanted to do it. Well, she wasn't. If you watched her, Sky Sports used to do player cam. You just watch one player if they weren't doing anything. If you just watch Leon, she was making really good runs all the time. And if players were lifting their heads up and looking and seeing that was happening, she could have had more than one. But again, how nice is it? We said we needed more forwards to score goals, to come on and make things happen. And she did that. And it would have been dead easy for her just to come on and canter about because we were 3-0 up. But she worked really hard, made good runs. And it was a really well taken goal. I think probably my favourite one, I think, was that one. Even more so if the assist was on purpose. Someone has to ask Leah that now. I mean, she'll say yes anyway, won't she?
I was going to say, I've just watched it back. There's no way she's meant that on purpose.
Isn't it?
Because she's almost hit it into the ground. It's like what's the thing? When you're skimming stones, when you do that and it kind of bounces off the surface like that. It's almost like that. And like Andy said, it's perfectly weighted. Again, fantastic finish. But Andy, just on to you as well, because we've spoken a lot and tweeted a lot about the signings. As Charlie said there, we wanted the signings to come in. We wanted them to contribute goals when they got their time. Like I said there, 4 out of the 7 have already done that. Leon, I don't know how long after she scored when she came on. I think it was, let me start right before I start. 12 minutes between her coming on and scoring. So, again, instant, and it's what we want from these signings, isn't it?
Absolutely. And you look at any individual signing and you think, is this signing going to help us get into the Champions League? And you don't need to answer that question because you look at the whole transfer window. And we talked about Leah dropping back to left back. Now, I think I would try that out without needing to because we've got that many forwards that if you can keep Leah on the pitch and get some other forwards playing, because Leah did that assist. Was it already? Had Anna already gone off? Was she at left back at that point?
Yeah, she was left back the whole second half. Leah was, I think.
So she's made the best assist ever from left back. So, you know, we've got this array of attacking talent and it's fitting them all on the pitch. The biggest challenge will be keeping each player in rhythm. You know, you need to be able to change a player and it not change the way we play. That's the biggest challenge that Skinner's got, because each individual can do it. Garcia's exciting. Paris, I think, looked a little bit out of ideas yesterday. She seemed to run out of grass whenever she ran with the ball before she figured out what she was going to do. But her goal against Villa, you know, she popped up with the goal there. We got 4 goals in this match, one of them from Leon getting her first goal. The goals are going to come from all over the pitch. And that's what we've done with this transfer window. We've brought in lots of different goal scoring options. And it was great to see Leon get off the mark, because she's a real exciting kind of player. You know, you see her for Canada and she gets on the ball and runs with it, and she looks deadly with it. She posted on Instagram the other day, I think, about a story of her international break was getting rattled by defenders. They were kicking her all over the place. And she comes on and keeps running at defenders and gets her first goal for the club. So I think that's the big thing, that, you know, the point you make, 4 of the 7 signings have scored. That's the biggest plus for this season. Goals from everywhere.
100%. Something we haven't really touched on, Mary's save right on half time to tip it round the post. I think it was literally one of the last kicks of the game to keep it. Not that I don't think it would have made too much difference on the outcome, but to keep another clean sheet. I don't quite know what to say to this comment. Why does Mark get called Skinner? Case never got. I mean, because
we've got Mark Henry. We've got Mark Henry, haven't we? We didn't have another Casey in the fan base, but we've got 2 Marks with a C that we need to distinguish.
That's a fair point, especially when they're doing interviews with each other. So, I don't know what else to say to that. That was a tactical move by Skinner, keeper on the allowed to keep making those runs. Yeah, that's a fair point. And Skinner's never going to get the credit he deserves. I don't think we could win the league and it'd still be criticism of what he does and the signs he makes and so on. So, I don't know whether, Chloe, do you want to touch on the goal and I guess your thoughts on? Do you think Leah meant it? I'm going to ask you that same question as well.
Well, I was going to say I probably had some dodgy touches like that, and I don't think mine have ever paid off with a good assist. So I'm not too sure if it was on purpose, but if it was, like, that's the best assist ever. I thought that the goal, she did take it really well, and I think that's the kind of player you want on the pitch, someone who's constantly chasing balls, and it obviously paid off as well. So yeah, it was a really good strike and good for your first goal.
I'll just mute myself. 100% on the chase of the ball. That was a rookie mistake there. I thought I was muted. So, yes, when you mentioned there about kind of chasing the ball down, that's a proper striker's instinct. That chasing the ball down, because you did kind of expect Leah to control it and run down the line, put the cross in. Leon's first instinct, absolutely full sprint into the box. So that was fantastic to see. Speaking of first place. Let's go on. Let's bring the league table up. Why not? Let's have a look at that while we can. Let's cover us all up. I think we've got to lean that way to get on camera, but there we are. Simple question to each of you: can the league table be looked at, and can we get a bit excited about it? I guess there's a few questions to this. Can we look at the league table and get excited? And also, can we take anything from the games that we've played, thinking this is the season now that we can get into top 3? Because last season started a little bit kind of up and down. We didn't get it. The season before that, we went on the great run. Didn't get it. This season, we've started well. Can we look at the league table and go, yeah, this is the one where we get into the top 3?
I think people have to be allowed to get excited. Otherwise, what's the point? Like, they're playing really well. I think I've said in here a few times that the thing that really frustrates me is your football team plays really well. They've blown someone out of the water again in the first 45 minutes. And then it's only this team or it's only that team. It doesn't matter. Like, they've played 3 games of football. Brighton, they scraped past at home last year when it really mattered, and they've blown them out of the water this time. West Ham have always really struggled against them, particularly away. And then we've beaten them fairly convincingly. And then the first game of the season, we won it. We'd won that game after 16 minutes. Of course you're excited. Because it's hard. Yes, it'll be massively disappointing if they then lose the next game and it doesn't go well. But these things happen. Yes, people should get excited because it's important and because it matters. And that's what makes it fun, isn't it? That's what we love about it, is the emotions of football. And some of it is really depressing at times, and sometimes it's really exciting. And they're the moments that make football so good, is those highs. So yes, we should be pleased about being top of the league. If we beat Leicester on Sunday, it doesn't matter if it's only Leicester. Like, you just beat the team that's in front of you, and they've done so well. The signings have settled so well. And also, I actually think this first 5 games for us are really, really important. It's dead important that we win these first 5, because the couple of games we've got after then, there's a massive test coming up. So we need to be in a really good position. If we'd drawn one of these games or lost one of them, could be out of it already, let's be honest, with how this league works. So yes, people should get excited. Does it mean they're going to get top 3 or win the league? No. Do I think they'll get top 3? Yes. Absolutely, because you've got to. It's your football club. You've got to support them and be positive, aren't you?
I was going to say, I was just looking at our fixtures. That's a scary prospect. So, yeah, Leicester and Everton next, and then Chelsea, Arsenal, Villa, City.
We have a run then, and then we have a run right at the end of the season. I think that's tricky.
Yeah,
but everyone has those. The league's so small, everyone's going to have really horrendous runs, aren't they? Where you just play 2 or 3 teams that are really good back to back.
Exactly.
It's like exciting.
We've beaten the teams that, how did we do? We drew to West Ham last season away. Oh, that was a horrible night away at West Ham, wasn't it? We've already beaten this season, so we've turned over 2 points that we didn't get last season. So that's a good start. Andy, just your thoughts on the league table. I guess, can we look into it too much? How are you viewing it at the moment?
Well, that's the thing. Getting excited doesn't mean you're claiming we're going to win the league. But saying, oh, we haven't played any big teams yet. Looking at who the other teams have played, I'd take our start over anybody else's in this league so far. And that's taking into account who they've played against. Chelsea have dropped points against Liverpool. City have dropped points against everybody. Except they've won the last one, but never mind. They've dropped points. They've lost the first 2 games. Was it 3 games? We've got the biggest goal difference. We've won our first 3 games convincingly. We haven't conceded a goal. If you can't get excited about that, then what like Charlie said, what is the point? Then football isn't fun. If that's your attitude, then don't bother. Just enjoy what you've got in front of you. Enjoy what you see. 2 4-0 wins and a 2-0 win. That is what football is about. That's what is there to enjoy. And to get more analytical about it, it's not just a case of enjoying it, but seeing that we've got a couple more gears to go into. We aren't playing 90 minutes firing on all cylinders, which sounds crazy to say when you've 10 goals plus after 3 games. But you can see where we can improve. And, Skinner's talking about what went wrong in games, not in a critical sense, but the things he wanted that didn't get. So, the intent is obviously there to go to that next level, to turn up that gear or 2. So to be 10 goals plus after 3 games, top of the league, and see further progress to be made, that is even more exciting. Bring it on.
No, I'd agree with that. There's a fact. I like that. I'm attending us agreeing with you. And also, do you remember when we beat Reading on the first game of the season? It was like, it's only Reading. Well, Arsenal didn't put 4 past them, did they, last night? So there we are. Maybe it's only Reading whenever we play them, and it doesn't matter when everyone else plays them. Chloe, I'll let you have the final word in the league table, then we're kind of, I want to come to Charlie on a point that we were kind of chatting about before we went live. But I guess just looking at United, how are you kind of viewing? Obviously, the league table looks good, but would you be getting carried away at this point? Or again, we've not played Chelsea, Arsenal, City yet, or Spurs for that matter. How are you kind of viewing it? Are you getting a little bit carried away yet? Do you think this could be the difference, or how are you looking at that?
I wouldn't say like anyone's necessarily getting carried away, but I think it's fair enough for everyone to be excited. It's a really positive start to the season, and to be top of the table, I don't think anyone could ask for a better start. So I think, as the others have said, let's just see how it goes and bring it on.
Exactly that. If Barry was on the live right now, I'd be saying we're actually going to win the league. So we're I'm not going to go quite that far yet, but yeah, as everyone said, I think it's been a positive. We haven't conceded a goal in the league, and we've scored 10. I don't think you can. It's hard to get carried away with what do you predict it. Well, yeah. Now we know how Charlie feels whenever she sees a result. She's like, oh yeah, well I knew that because she got the prediction right straight away. So, did you get the United score right, Charlie? I think you did, didn't you?
Yes, yes, I did. I did very well with that one.
I underestimate. I think
I still wanted Williams to score, though. I would have taken not getting the perfect score if Rachel Williams had scored.
Go on, talk to us about that little moment then, because it was in the vlog. If anyone hasn't seen it, by the way, check out the vlog from yesterday that went out. But you had a good little moment when your mate came on, didn't you?
Do you know what? Obviously, when we signed her, she was the first signing, and there wasn't a parade, was there? Or wasn't trombones and like dancing elephants over it. But the fact is, she's a Man United player, and I think I WhatsApped you earlier and said when she was getting ready to come on, I genuinely thought, oh my gosh, she's going to do a Steven Gerrard and come and 2-foot someone here, because she was like took her jacket off and like threw it down. Just looked at Deborah like, oh no, what's about to happen? But then highlights were black football boots, brilliant. Shirt tucked in like Michael Carrick, brilliant. And then she came on, I think she had about 10 or 12 minutes, and she was really good. Like I'm saying, she pressed really well. She calmed everyone down because they were getting a bit manic when they didn't need to. And she had a couple of really good opportunities. She had a real pile driver from the edge of the box that I thought, God, if that Brighton player hadn't taken to the windpipe, that was burying in the top corner. So she came on, she did a really good job. And she was actually probably, apart from Leon, one of our better substitutions, better performances from our substitutes that came on. She was up there with Leon and did a really good job. So really pleased for her. Really pleased.
That's a nice little segue actually into something I want to ask you, Charlie, and Andy, you can, and Chloe, if you want to jump on the back of this. But Charlie, me and you were chatting before about the subs. Martha Thomas came on. I guess the question I've got written down is where can Thomas fit in? Because I don't think she's been that impressive in the last. I'd even go back to the back end of last season. I don't think she was exceptional. We've seen the new signings come in, especially Garcia and Leon have completely hit the ground running from the off. Where do you think that leaves, I guess, Thomas in the pecking order, I guess, because I don't think she was great either when she came on. So just your thoughts on that and, kind of where she can fit in, because like we said, all summer, we've got a lot of attackers now. And I don't think many expected the attackers that have come in to hit the ground running as quick as they have.
Yeah, it's a tough one, isn't it? So we started without an out-and-out. Well, Russo's injured, isn't she? And Martha Thomas is our next out-and-out striker, and she was not selected, which is always going to be tough, I suppose. I mean, I can't imagine she's a sulker. I don't think, from what I've seen. But I think she's been leapfrogged. Russo's fit, she's going to start. I think Leon came on as nurse. I think Martha Thomas came on first and came in as the number 9. And then Andy, did Leon come in fairly soon after that, or did she come on at the same time? I don't know if they came on at the same time and Leon went out wide, but that changed quite quickly and it was better. She didn't show much yesterday. She didn't look like someone who could necessarily compete with Russo and with the other players that have come in. I would say she's probably gone down the pecking order because other players have taken their opportunities. Garcia has come and been really good, hasn't she? Leon's come on and got her goal. And Paris, even though, like I think Annie said, he was right, she ran out of ideas at times, but she was still making things happen. And she's got an aggressiveness about her and she will try and commit defenders. Whereas Martha Thomas, it was all just very flat with her yesterday. It'd be interesting to see if she gets on the pitch for the Conti Cup games. I think if she doesn't, I'm not really sure what that means for her going forward. I don't know, Andy, I don't know what you thought. I felt like we didn't see much from her.
Yeah, I think I always go back to City away last season and we were 1 goal down. I remember bottling a challenge that would have led to a pretty much certain goal. And since then, I've noticed that more frequently. I've noticed that she doesn't seem fully committed to the challenge, and that to me, she's not as talented as Russo, but she's always seemed like a bit of a fighter. And if that is now not happening, if she's pulling back from challenges, then to me, that's what she's there for. I think she's got fairly reasonable numbers as far as goals to games and in what she has played while she's been with us. But I think we've got a lot more to offer in the players we've brought in, and that includes on the wing, up front. I think she needs to fight hard if she wants to keep her place.
But that's what we wanted, wasn't it? We were saying like maybe last year what we had on the front line wasn't enough for where we wanted to move to. And the whole point is we've brought people who's like, I think kind of like you were saying, we need to bring people in that are going to push other people down the pecking order, because that means you're making the team better. And she is probably one that is going to suffer for that, I would think.
Yeah. Just before I give my little 2 cents on this, make sure you vote on the poll if you haven't already. We've just had an influx of a load of new people just join the chat. Make sure you vote on that poll. It's between two people now. It's between Toone and Galton on the poll, but it's it's the closest one we've had, which is good because it means we've got more than one player who really stood out. So make sure you drop your vote on that. But yeah, I agree. I've said all summer, you improve your starting 11, you improve your bench by proxy because your starting 11 then becomes your bench and so on. So yeah, to me, she's just. I think Chris's comment might not be far from the truth here. I don't think. Yeah, she's a good player. Is she going to be good enough for United? Maybe. I think she can still play a part. I think you're looking at the Conti games, maybe against Leicester. You know, she did score against Leicester last season. So whether there's that one there, I'm not too sure. But other than that, yeah, I was a little bit disappointed. I got to be honest, because considering she had a full half. I think when players come on a bit late, you can go, they couldn't really make an impact in that time. But when you've got a full 45 minutes, a little bit concerning. But as we've said all along, we're only early on.
I think one a positive to point out, though, is that time she faced up to Jonas when he was flipping his lid against Arsenal. We'll always celebrate that.
Do you remember that? Because that was the Conti Cup game, wasn't it? And we couldn't really see what was going on from where we were. We were just shouting, whatever we were shouting at the time.
Toone was right over, wasn't she? Followed closely by Skinner. That was really good. That was.
And then the tweet afterwards, the tweet that Martha put out afterwards of that fire fuming character from the Disney film. Yeah,
I did like.
We'll take that character all day long.
Indeed. Yeah, I can't be sense. I agree. I don't think she's as bad as people make out, and I also don't think she's as good as people make out. I think it sits somewhere in the middle with players like her. Right then, I'm going to give you a few more minutes to vote on the poll if you haven't already, but I'll come to each of you then for your vote if you did vote on the poll. But Charlie, I'll start with you. Who was your player of the match from yesterday?
My player of the match was Ella Toone. 2 goals, an assist, really good. A little bit of a drop off as well, I think, in intensity when she came off, which showed the impact that she was having. So Toone for me.
Fair shout, Andy.
I think tight between Toone and Galton, but I think Toone just edges it. If I believe that Leah meant that assist, then Leah would take it, but I'll stick with Toone.
Chloe, for yourself?
I've gone for Toone as well. I just thought overall she had a really strong performance, and the stats definitely back it up. So I've gone for her.
Oh, Barry's back with his puns. What's going on here? I'm not even going to say that. See, Barry, we've missed you tonight. Barry will be back on Wednesday, by the way. I'll do the shout-outs for those in a second. Mark's saying there, Charlie Williams will play against, especially when we go to Durham. We're going to be on the edge of the pitch. If anyone's been to the Durham ground,
bully them. She'll be bullying them. And you're allowed to 2-foot tackle people in Durham, is what we've learned. So Rachel Williams will be like, she'll be in heaven there. Brilliant.
I'm sure you will be as well, because we'll be so close to the action. We'll be able to see everything right up close. It was interesting last year when we went up to Durham, that's for sure. 100%. What? Let me hit Barry. Come on, save your puns for Wednesday when you're back on the fans forum. Before I do a run in, kind of what's coming up for the rest of the week, I want to come to the people on the bottom row, Andy and Chloe. Chloe, I'll start with yourself. Just shout out, I guess, your Twitter, your socials, where people can find you. Because I tell you now, you do an awful lot of stuff at the moment, alongside uni as well. So if people want to check out any of that and where to find you and all those kinds of things.
Yeah, thank you. So my Twitter is Chloe Boyne, so it's literally my name on here, just without the E on Chloe. Yeah, I've just started uni doing sports journalism, and I've just become the head of media at AFC Stoneham, which is one of the clubs down here in Southampton. So I've got loads of work with them, and then a club back home called Northley. So if anyone wants to check me out on Twitter, that's where I post most of my stuff. I've got an Instagram called Chloe Boyne Sport as well, and a YouTube with the same name. So if anyone wants to, then that would be appreciated. Thank you.
There we go. Puts me to shame. I think I've got a lot with this, just doing this channel, but there we are. And Andy, I wanted to come to yourself as well. A little update on the Barmy article. Is there any left to you? I guess I saw you were selling obviously outside LSV at the weekend. Where can people get that if they want to get it, and any upcoming issues? If there's anything you want to shout out for there as well.
Yeah, if you get to LSV, it's pretty much always on sale before the game. I stand outside Morrison's opposite the main stand. Security tried to move me on again yesterday, but I told them where to go and they went. But it's also available online. Obviously, a lot of people can't get to LSV. So if you go to my Twitter, which is not on the screen now, but there we go.
There you go.
So that's the Twitter. And in there's a link tree in my bio, which has a few articles about the fanzine in MEN and FAWSL full time, and there's a link there to where you can buy it as well. I also have a Substack where I post out straight to your inbox when it's going to be released and when it goes on sale, as well as a few archive articles from it. And also, if you want to write for it, get in touch. All contributions are welcome, as long as you can get your point across without being offensive. Then write it and I'll print it.
Indeed. I think was Barry in the last one? I think he was, wasn't he?
He was, yeah, with his views on the transfer window.
Exactly. There we go. So yeah, make sure you're checking that out as well. I'm just trying to get up just before we wrap this one up, because why not? She's on the show and we'll just make her ego go even more inflated. I was going to bring up the predictions league table, but I don't think we can. Oh, there it is. There we go. Look. So as you can see, our regular Charlie over here is still top of the predictions league after it was a really weird kind of weekend of results.
Though.
I know Rob Kenton went from 16th up to 3rd, and that just shows you how quick it can change. Literally 2 correct results, and he's shooting up the table. I've dropped out of it, and I'm like 20 odd now. We are going to release the full league table in about 3 weeks' time. I've been a bit hesitant to release the full league table for people that are, dropping down the league, but we are going to do that in about 3 weeks' time. We'll let the season go on a little bit before we do that. In regards to shows, so we are going to be back properly this week. So fans forum's being moved, so that'll be on Wednesday. Barry's got a whole host of people for that. We should be back on Thursday for a special. Keep an eye out for that. We'll be back on Friday for the Leicester preview, and then obviously the vlog will be out for Leicester away on next Sunday as well. And we do it all again from next week as well. Make sure you're following all these people. I said Chloe, Andy, thanks for coming on, and Charlie, as always, thanks for coming on. Make sure you're liking and subscribing, and we shall see you all very soon.